right, guys, this is another Mega Sports Show. That means we are back on another Wednesday live here on Facebook and YouTube. I am Del with the Mega Sports, and I want to turn to my guest here, streaming from Wilmington. Good job. Alan Rodgers, our market leader in Wilmington. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a busy day. I've had about 6 rackets dropped off today to string, so that alone is a lot of work.
Yeah, well, no pressure to keep me keeping you engaged during the show. I know you have customers lining up, but I couldn't do a tennis only show, if you will, without having what I'm going to say is one of our major tennis leaders in Omega Sports join us. You're already in your little tennis cave there.
Yeah, and like I said, with everyone dropping off their rackets today, I think the weather has a lot to do with that. It definitely feels like a cave.
Yeah, so just a reminder. So, Alan, thank you for joining us from Wilmington. You are the market leader there. We have an exciting show today where we are going to be welcoming the executive director of USTA North Carolina. Kelly Gaines will be on the show. So that's exciting. I know you and I have had several conversations about how cool it is that Omega is now the official sports store of USTA.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One, because we're in kind of your major cities, at least Piedmont, and to the coast, Wilmington being that. Yeah, really awesome. I mean, and those are huge USDA communities. And of course, like me being here in Wilmington, it's massive, like really untapped market.
Yeah, and especially, Omega's done very well in a lot of sports, and certainly tennis being one of them. But we obviously spend a lot of our time fitting people for proper running shoes, and we talk running a lot. And we've got a lot of fantastic reasons that you shop your neighborhood sports store for running. But you being a huge tennis player, athlete, enthusiast, fan, how cool is it for you to be able to now talk more tennis?
Yeah, like I do run. It's sometimes fun. But tennis is far more fun. Even the days that you just want to crack a racket, it's more fun to me, for sure.
Yeah, I will say, just to give everyone a sneak preview, we've got tennis.omegasports.com if you want to see all of the great products that we have available. We've got all of the selection online at tennis.omegasports.com. And certainly you can go in and see our experts like Alan in our stores to talk about all things tennis. But what's really, really cool is that we are continuing to grow our tennis program. And what people don't know, Alan, is that I have sat on several leadership calls where you are sitting there, and I mean, you are dropping knowledge about the most technical aspects of a tennis racket, a string, a tennis ball, like all kinds of things. I mean, you have become really...
Didn't hear that last thing you said. Sorry.
That's okay. It sounds like a busy store. How you've become our resident expert for all things tennis.
That's cool. I didn't necessarily want that, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely where I spend a lot of time, or have spent a lot of years, kind of just being a nerd, I guess. So thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say tennis nerd, but I didn't say it.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, of course, the show really today is about USTA North Carolina, and we're so thrilled to have Kelly Gaines, the executive director, join us today. I know that folks are familiar with Kelly. Of course, if you're in any of our communities and you hear anything with tennis, or you're connected to anything that's happening in the tennis world, you know that Kelly's been on the forefront of growing the sport in North Carolina. And you may have recently had a chance to hear Kelly talk about her story on our Women's Only podcast with our host, Cleo Fawcett. So I want to play a quick little sneak preview of that actual podcast, and then we're going to welcome Kelly onto the show.
Awesome.
Tennis is just a place where I always find a friend no matter where I am in this country. I've always said, if you were to plot me in the middle of I don't even know, let's just say Denver, Colorado, the first place I would go is to find a tennis center. And it's interesting, Cleo, that you said that you were walking by a park and they were playing tennis and they kind of grabbed you. And North Carolina, and really throughout our country, we're blessed with a lot of public tennis facilities. And did you know that 70% of all tennis is played on a public court? so many people think tennis is a country club or a racket club sport, but actually there are more people playing on a public park court than there are on any other type of court.
All right. Well, I want to officially welcome Kelly to the Omega Sports Show. We've had you on our podcast, but that was a huge fun thing, I know. It's a very popular podcast that has already done very well, but I want to officially welcome you to my show.
Well, thank you. I think I'm on mute now. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And Cleo just makes it so easy. So that was a joy to talk with her.
Yeah, and I know that I just saw you in Asheville, it feels like just yesterday. Of course, a fantastic tournament that I want people to understand that you have a team that travels and goes where the players are, and you mobilized a whole team to have it was the mixed doubles state tournament, correct? That we had in beautiful Asheville. It was gorgeous weather. It wasn't gorgeous driving up there, Kelly. You couldn't arrange that.
Well, when I drove up, it was beautiful. It stayed great all weekend. You know, as I tell anybody on our team, when you run a tournament, you can be a genius when the sun's out, but, you know, let it drop rain and then you're an idiot. But we had a great weekend. We had great tennis, great weather, and a great place to be. So we really appreciated you guys joining us there. You added to the tournament. Our players, were asking, when you're coming back. They loved having Omega there. So we really thank you for being there.
Absolutely. We, of course, are talking about, myself, our owners, Craig and Kristen Carlock were there. We kind of full force. We came in to show support and love. And boy, you guys had us working. It was pretty popular. So Alan, guess what? You're signed up for the next one.
Yeah, I am actually. Dealt with some emails about that this morning.
Yep, absolutely. So again, great tournament. So Kelly and Alan, I'm so happy to have you guys on here because as you both know, we are so excited to be growing tennis in North Carolina. And I want to talk about our official sports store partnership that we have with USTA North Carolina. But Kelly, you said something really important in that clip that talked about the impression that people maybe have with tennis. And Alan, I'd love you to weigh in on it as well. Because I think the story kind of led up to, Cleo starting to play tennis by just being welcomed into a public court. Someone was playing and she got to play. You made a very good point that there's an impression that this is maybe a sport for a certain crowd of people or a certain neighborhood of people. And really the numbers are very much on the side of this is a game and a sport for everyone. Kelly, can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think because tennis came out of a very kind of a wealthy demographic, it's always had that, tennis has always kind of had the reputation of being a country club sport and a very, just everybody proper, nobody yelling and screaming and everything like that. And that really is it's now very far from the actual truth. I mean, there are incredible clubs and around North Carolina and all over the country that do a great job supporting tennis. But truthfully, almost everybody comes to tennis through a public park. Almost everybody. You can't say everybody, but many, me included. That was the first thing. People want to go try out tennis without that commitment before they actually, they would actually go join a club. And our clubs benefit when public tennis is strong in their area. Alan, you can attest to that with MP Park right there. I mean, the clubs are very strong, but MP is such a welcoming place. And you've got a ton of public parks where we have tennis courts in Wilmington. But that's the truth all around the state. And, tennis has seen it's really quite ironic. When we all shut down back in the spring of 2020, a lot of public tennis centers, a lot of clubs closed down, and a lot of public tennis centers locked their gates. And just about, just across the lake behind me over here, there is a public high school courts, and they were locked, but somehow people got in and they played anyway. So what we saw over the pandemic, we saw and I think anecdotally, we've heard this. Alan, you probably have sales to prove it, that people are coming out in droves to play our sport either again or for the first time. We saw tennis grow by 22%, about 4 million players nationally. And anecdotally, clubs are just everywhere's packed and full. So this is great. We want to keep those people playing our sport. We know that if you played, Alan, I'm a bit of a runner myself, and like you, and you said at the top of the show, and it is not always fun. So I've always said, it's good to play tennis. You've got to have an outlet for your for the stress in your life, and sometimes it's better to just hit a ball instead of hitting someone. So tennis provides that ability to lead a very.
You hit someone with the ball.
Hit a. I think we know that we've seen studies done that tennis can extend your life up to 9 years. 9 years. That's we just lead a little bit more of a healthy lifestyle. So we really encourage people to get out, and anybody can play. Tennis is for everyone. We have folks all ages playing our sport and all abilities. Everybody thinks that tennis is also those folks that played in New York this past 2 weeks.
Right.
No, none of us look like that. None of us look like that. So we have all abilities and all levels of tennis, and so we really want it to be a welcoming sport for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I will say a couple of interesting things that you said, that we totally felt that in Mega Sports. We totally felt that when things shut down, people still wanted to be active. And not consequently, that was when Alan Rodgers started at Mega Sports and grew tennis, because thank goodness we had someone like Alan to help us learn more about tennis. And of course, we've been in the game of tennis for quite some time, but it's nice to know that in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, as people were now telling us that they are still going out and they still want to stay active, that we were able to give them the tools and the gear that they need. Alan, I know you felt that firsthand. I mean, it literally was like your second or third month we ended up going into this shutdown.
Yeah, second or third, which was kind of crazy. You at least had a little bit of buffer where you kind of knew it was coming. Like about a month into it, they're like, well, there's going to be a shutdown. But during that shutdown, I just can't help but laugh. They did lock up all the public courts. But that only lasted 2 weeks here in Wilmington, so it wasn't for the whole shutdown. Yes, there were definitely some busted locks on some tennis courts in that time.
I think tennis players showed our public officials that you
for sure. There was such an outcry.
Safely. You could play safely, and I know that I talked to quite a few Parks and Rec directors during that time, and I'm like, guys, you're not having to get close to each other. You're 78 feet away, and and once I think we got over the hump of it could be passed through the tennis ball, and that was quickly kind of thrown out. But I think we have seen our numbers just go crazy, and I know that we're back to levels of prior to our registration levels are back prior to COVID. So that's great news.
That's awesome. Well, I think it's important because not only did people want to stay active, what we realized is that we actually do want to be around people, right? So tennis became that recreation, that outlet. So you talked about like an outlet for maybe, hit that tennis ball, hit that person with a tennis ball, like get a little bit of that stress out there. But also there's that world where we got we went so virtual that we missed people, and tennis was that great, safe sport that people could actually go out and have a good time. And we felt it at Omega. I mean, not only did people run more and start walking more, but they definitely wanted to interact more, and tennis became that perfect solution. I want to give a shout out. I see Chris Kepko in our comments here. He's saying hello. So I appreciate him joining the show today. Of course, he's a big advocate for staying active and getting out there and playing more as well. So Alan, let's talk about the fact that, so we saw there was a surge of tennis. We saw that there was a need and a desire. And then all of a sudden we tell all of our leaders, hey, we just signed a huge agreement with USTA to be their official sports store. How cool was that?
Yeah, definitely pretty cool. Well, one that there was clearly a commitment to tennis from Omega, wanting to do that. So that made me very happy, since I like talking about running shoes, but I, again, enjoy talking about tennis rackets and strings and balls and shoes even more, just because that's just where my heart is. So yeah, it's a huge deal. Definitely seen increase of people showing up here in Wilmington because of it. And but again, just on a personal level, it's just kind of nice to kind of talk about it more. But again, like the COVID pandemic has certainly sent more people on the tennis court that have never, again, like you said, that were returning or brand new to it. So that was also really fun to kind of share a passion to people that are new to it.
Yeah, and we'll talk about winning over some new players, because that's a big strategy that I know Kelly and her team are passionate about. But Kelly, I have to say, you and I, this isn't our first go at this. We've tried to do this for a while, right? So timing was perfect. What Alan said is critical, that I want you to hear loud and clear, is that it is Omega's effort to make sure that people know, our customers and great organizations like yourself know, that we are taking it seriously. So the timing worked out perfect for us to be able to say, hey, whatever it takes, let's figure out what this looks like. You have a great team. Candace Kaufman on your team and I work together along with Mark Cottle and all the folks really kind of thoughtfully thought through what are the needs that the USTA North Carolina need? What are the needs that Omega has? Putting those together and then really just bringing it home. And Kelly, I remember when we did it, you were like, Del, we've been doing this for quite some time. Conversation.
We've had a lot of conversations over the years, but timing is everything. You're right. Yes. And why I think, we can list there's a long list of reasons why I think Omega is the perfect partner for us.
We have time. Go ahead.
Well, I just feel like we do have, as I said, we have a lot of clubs and facilities in North Carolina, and it used to be in the old days, every club had a pretty mammoth pro shop. And I know I did a little stint as a head tennis professional back many years ago. And, that was the first thing on my mind. I got to get a stringer. I got to get clothes in there, and I got to have rackets. And at this point, I think we do have some private clubs that have very, very good shops, and we do need to support them, because that is very important. But for me, I'm not a member of a club anywhere, and I know a lot of my friends that I play with, around the state of North Carolina. Omega is the perfect pro shop in so many ways for those of us who aren't affiliated with a private club. And we've got folks like Alan who we can go in and get really good advice. I'd say to a lot of people that ask me about tennis, I've been out of the pro shop business for a long time. So Alan, I don't know, what the best fitting racket would be for somebody. I just don't know personally, because I know I play with my little rackets, and I know what's good for me, but I've lost a lot of that knowledge. And so it's very important. I think we've got to get that across to our viewers that they do need to be fitted properly with a racket. That's as important as wearing the right shoes. And I think, your knowledge, Alan, and those of your colleagues around all the stores are always armed with good information for our customers. And that is just as important as the right grip on a forehand and the right toss for a serve, is to know what string is going to be the best for them, what grip, what ball, and then what shoes. So I know personally, Cleo and I had a little chat prior to me being on her podcast. I was having an issue. I've bought the same shoes now for same brand, for the last, I think 5 or 6 years. And in the summer, this past year, I played so much tennis, like something's not right. I was having some foot pain that I don't normally have. And I went in and Cleo fixed me right up. And she asked me good questions. She was able to tell me and guide me in the right direction of what I needed, and she fixed it. And I think we've all got to have that expert knowledge. So congratulations to you, Alan. And I really asked our viewers, let's take them up on it. Let's go in there and and as you said, drop some knowledge on us. So.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do that right now, Ellen. So I know you've got a little bit of extra, things that get you excited that you wanted to share. But when I do that, I do want to just reiterate what Kelly said is like that expert knowledge in our stores is very, very important. We want people to feel comfortable coming to our stores. We usually always have great things happening in our stores. So it's a very welcoming environment. And then, of course, we've got great ways to save. And also we have a fantastic rewards program. So there's always good reasons to shop. But our best reason is always going to be our team. It's going to be the folks that are in the stores, connecting with locals and just asking those questions, like you said, Kelly, just asking the right questions and making sure that we're really thoughtful about making sure that you're feeling comfortable and you're successfully performing to the level that you want to have. So, Alan, I know I asked you to go ahead and pull a couple of things together. I want to give you a moment to kind of what you said earlier, tennis nerd out on some of our cool items that we have and cool gear that we have, because to Kelly's point, I want to give a quick demonstration about the fact that we're passionate and we're knowledgeable about the things that we have in our stores. Now, I will say Alan is a true passionate player, so he's probably got a little bit of an edge on a lot of other folks, but he's helping us kind of train others to make sure that they're just as knowledgeable about the things that are important to a player. So, Alan, do you have a few things you want to share?
Yeah, sure. I think kind of first place to start is, as you know, with the pandemic, there was definitely some tennis ball shortages. But it gave Omega an opportunity to bring in a different ball. And it's a ball that I've enjoyed a lot since we've had it. It's the Technofiber X1 ball. It's also a USTA, if you can see that little USDA approved tennis ball. A couple things I like about it. It's an aluminum can, easy recyclable. There's 4 balls in it. I know some people want 3, but 4 is a better number for me. I think it's each person has 2 balls in their pocket. It's just a little easier to keep up with, especially for practice as well. But match play, I really enjoy having the 4 a little bit more. But the one thing I really like about the X1 Biphase, now it is a regular duty felt, but it's for hard and soft court. It does fuzz up a little bit on the hard courts just because it's the regular duty, but it doesn't go too far. It doesn't get like super soft and it doesn't like just wear down. But the one thing I really like about the X1 ball is that it just holds pressure really well. It's one of the best pressure holding balls I've ever played with. Of course, a match I'm only going to use the ball once, but this is a great ball to add to your hopper for serve practice, for hitting practice, and your other practice, because after you use it for match, it's still good. It still bounces well, which is the main reason why this is the only ball I'm buying right now myself, because I just feel like it more out of money. It is a little bit more expensive. It's $6 per can. So it's four balls for $6, but that's not that expensive of a ball. So definitely one of my favorites. Again, one thing that is not new, but like we kind of keep in stock, maybe overly marketed in some ways are polys. Like a little bit have that opinion a little bit, just because it's not right for everyone. But poly strings they've changed the game more in the last 20 years than anything else has. And one of the crown jewels of co-poly strings, which I think this came out late 90s actually, but no one used it until like really the 2000s. But Lexilon Alu Power, it just has a very unique feel. It's not dead, it's very lively. You feel connected to the ball, but if you want to try a string in the poly world, I ultimately would suggest something a little softer if you've never used them before. But this string is just, I think, the gold standard. But everything else is kind of trying to do a variation of in some ways. Like for instance, Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray, Del Potro. I mean, the list goes on. Use this string. It's an awesome string. If you want to add more control, more spin to to your shots, it definitely will do it. It won't. Again, it's not magic. If you can't produce spin, it's just not going to just make spin happen. But if you are producing a good amount of spin and you want more control and really go after the ball more, alloy power is a must try at some point in your racket.
Alan, what gauges do those come in? Do they come in different gauges? 15?
They do. Now, alloy power. So this is one thing. Again, we'll nerd out a little bit. Just a hot second.
Yeah,
I
sorry
don't
about
like
that.
the US gauges at all because they're just not accurate enough.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will call so this is 125, which means that where is it out there? There we go. I can't be a weatherman.
Yeah.
Which means it's 1.25 millimeters in diameter. A lot more accurate at like what that means. On the back of the package, it says it's 17 gauge. On websites, it will come up as 16L, and then on some other websites, it will be called 16. So that's why I don't like US sizing at all. But this is 125. This is the original gauge that this was produced in. They do make all the way down to 1.18 or 118, and they make it up to 1.3, which would be a true 16 gauge string. So yeah, there's multiple gauges there. So yeah, it's 118, 120, 125, and 130.
So one of the things
they may make more. I don't know.
Yeah, Alan, one of the things you said early on is that when you introduced yourself, you said it was a busy day and you have a lot of rackets to string. I don't want to miss that point. At Omega Sports, you can come, to Kelly's point, you can come to your neighborhood pro shop and get your racket strung. You can get nerded out on some string knowledge and then also have the reality check that the string itself won't do the job. But yeah, like that's one thing I wanted to make sure of. Along with product, you have services that our tennis shops inside of Omega Sports are known for. And tennis players, obviously, Kelly, the tennis players in our communities they come to Omega, they trust our stringers, they trust us, they leave their rackets, they pick them up, they get more gear when they need it. But for those that don't know, we need to let people know that not only do we have the string, but we can string it for you. And we've got some great advantages of why that works when you come to Omega as well.
Yeah. And another kind of update that's new, not a new racket, it's been around since 1994, but it's the newest edition of it, is the Pure Drive, which once was called the Pro Drive. But it's called the Pure Drive just with the marketing change to kind of make it a little bit more clear between their different models. One thing I really like about this update is that it's a little bit different feel than the Pure Aero, which was called the Aero Pro Drive because it was the aerodynamic beam of the Pro Drive, which is the yellow racket that you see right there. Maybe I can be a weatherman.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But that was, designed for mainly Rafael Nadal that, got faster. In his junior years, he used an older Pro Driver, now called the Pure Drive. But one thing that they changed for this generation of it is that it's a lot more feel, like it feels more solid. It feels a little more pro staffy, which is my ultimate favorite racket is the Wilson Pro Staff line, just because that solid feel is just awesome. This feels closer to it. And the Pure Aero and the Pure Drive feel more different than ever, which I like. This is a little bit more control oriented with still being very much power, spin, but it's controllable. Really great version of this long legacy. That this racket also changed tennis. If there was a racket that really changed tennis, the modern tennis, this is it.
Good knowledge. Well, so Kelly, one of the things that, again, going back to being the official sports store of USTA North Carolina, so these products are available for anyone, obviously within our communities and online anywhere in the country. But also, if you're a USTA North Carolina member, part of our partnership really has its advantages, and that's 15% savings for all USTA members. And so how they do that, They can go online and they can find at nctennis.com. They can find details about how to make sure that they're getting their benefits when it comes to our partnership. That's nctennis.com. But more importantly, when I talked about building a relationship and a true partnership with USTA, we said, how else can we make this a win-win? One of the real advantages, I think, for your players and your members is that 5% of any of the tennis purchases that the USTA members are making, 5% goes back to USTA North Carolina, because we want to help grow the game of tennis. That's part of the commitment that we have in this partnership.
And let me talk a little bit about that reinvestment. North Carolina Tennis, USTA North Carolina Tennis Foundation, we put a lot of money back into the community. If anybody plays on a refurbished public court in North Carolina, over the last almost 10 years, North Carolina Tennis has put money back. USTA, Southern, and North Carolina have put money back into helping with facility assistance. And that's, I think a lot of players don't realize, they'll say, well, I'm joining and I'm playing, I'm spending all this money, but they're actually playing on their investment right there. And so I think that's real important. We also give a lot of grants out to tennis players all over North Carolina that are of need, but we also have a lot of program grants that we give. And then what's on the screen right now, Try Tennis has probably been our greatest investment back into our sport. We started this in 2017. We brought over 10,000 new players to tennis in the last 4 years. We actually didn't have much of a slowdown once we opened back up in June of 2020. We stopped mid-March and we picked back up in probably mid-June once we got everything rolling. And we brought 10,000 new folks to our sport through Try Tennis. And what is Try Tennis? Try Tennis is a 6-week program. We call it From Couch to Courts in 6 weeks. If you're an adult, you get for $40, you get 6 sessions of lessons, hour and a half each. You get a racket, you get a T-shirt or a towel or some type of gift, and you get an instructor. The instructors are armed with curriculum to teach, and it really gives you that first 6 weeks of beginner tennis that kind of gets you going. Or if you're back, if you just kind of put the rackets down for a while, it refreshes you. So that's what tennis itself is. And then we also have, not everybody's just ready to go jump right back into full-blown tennis. So we do a little bit of some linking programs called Try Play and Try Match that get folks, to feel comfortable about playing, because not everybody's going to be like Alan, who is an accomplished player. I mean, everybody is. We all have a different varied levels of what we can do and what we can play. But we have been able to reinvest back into that, because our hosts keep $30 of that to reinvest back into teaching our players.
Yeah, Try Tennis is
coaches, by the way. I made a note to myself. We are looking for folks that are 3-5-4-0 level, that have an enthusiasm to teach tennis. We provide balls, we provide a curriculum, and a little bit of money to teach. We need teachers. Our demand is so high, we're actually not able to offer all the sessions that we have a demand for right now. So out there in tennis land, we need some more teachers to step up and reach out to us.
Try Tennis is awesome.
Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
Try Tennis is awesome. Try Play, Try Match, all of it's awesome. The 3 teachers I know in this area are Candy and Adam and Bob, and awesome. Let's just string their rackets all the time. But awesome. I've gone out and volunteered, particularly with Candy, who's got the first, actual Try Tennis, and Bob does that as well. So I've been with Bob too, and it's such an awesome group. Again, it's returning players who just want something just fun, kind of getting into it, and brand new players. I think it's awesome. It really is.
Yeah, and I'm going to just shower you with some more love, Kelly, because you and your team, I want folks to know this, because I respect it so much, that this is your baby. Like, you and your team incubated this. You said, you know what, we need to come up with a couch to courts scenario or solution for folks to get people to play more. And
at a reasonable price. I think that was
price. Yeah, like make it affordable and make it for everyone. Like, going back to your point that tennis is not just for someone who gets a membership at a country club and all of a sudden now they've got to gear up. It really should be, hey, I see that there's some courts down the street. I want to learn how to play, or maybe I'm scared because I don't know how to play and I'm of a certain age, or I want to get my kid more involved in something and I don't know what it is. Your organization was really instrumental in just giving people a great option, like a great affordable option. And I mean, when we talk about affordable, we're talking about like, it's really just, I mean, it's like a no-brainer, right? Like, you're getting a racket, you're getting lessons, you're getting access, you're getting a curriculum. And that is so much more valuable that I just want to just, again, thank you for doing that for North Carolina. We have seen, obviously, as a sports retailer, we've seen the impact it's done in our communities. But just as neighbors, we see that this is a program that is super important, that organizations that are, obviously league organizations that are taking care of members are also thinking beyond the members.
Well, we'll never have, we'll run out of players if we don't create new ones. So, just like you got to have new customers, you got to take care of your longtime existing customers like me, and then we got to find new ones all along. But as Alan mentioned, Candy Pigram is the Greater Wilmington Tennis Association, and Greater Wilmington Tennis Association is the community tennis association there in Wilmington, and she's done a terrific job helping to grow our sport. She is really an ambassador to welcome people into our sport, and she's done a wonderful job. And we've got those peppered all over North Carolina, and we're seeing, we've just seen some really, really good stories. This weekend when we were in Asheville, you'll like this as a marketing person, Dell. This woman walked up to me. I was running a site on Sunday, and her team was getting ready to play in the finals. Now, when you hear that, you automatically think she's got to be, this just really great player, and she's been playing the finals of a state tournament. Not at all. She said, and I got her on tape, but she basically said, and I took my first, she was an athlete. She had played through her life. You could tell she was an athlete, but she said, I've never played tennis. I picked up a racket in September of last year, right here at the Asheville Racket Club. She said, I went through Tri-Tennis, and now look at me. It's a year later, and I am playing for a state championship. Now she was at an entry level, but doesn't matter. Her trophy's the same as everybody else's, and she had a wonderful experience. She couldn't have spoken higher of the teacher she had and the experience and the people she's met. And then what has been so great about that is, in a lot of people, in a lot of communities, you've got Candies who then see, somebody like that gets excited about the sport and goes, here's what's next. And we just don't leave them out there just hitting against a wall. They learn that they can be part of a friend group. They can be, they have fitness and fun. And then what I think the most important thing is friends. Tennis, if you ask me what has been the most important thing about tennis in my life, it's been friends and the experience.
I was going to ask you that, and I'm glad that you said that, because I think that's what you see when you get to be around on the outside of the tennis community, the friendships and the bonds and the years of, just camaraderie that a lot of these teams, they've been playing with each other for so many years. That's why I love seeing it. And I played tennis early on, but I'm getting renewed into it because of obviously current relationships, but also just the fact that just to get out there and do something fun again has been wonderful. So yeah, Tri-Tennis is a fantastic solution. And I will say again, just to brag on you a little bit more, and I know because I get to get a little bit of insight, that this is something that national and other states are looking at, the program that you and your team built. I mean, I think that's amazing that North Carolina is, as a North Carolina brand, we love hearing that you're doing things outside the box, that you're putting North Carolina on the map, because all you're doing is you're growing the sport, which is what the mission is.
Well, we do believe that, and I really congratulate my volunteer leaders. I mean, I'm a staff person. I'm but we have a whole host of volunteers that have realized the importance of what we needed to do. And when we went to them with this plan, it wasn't about, there was no argument. It's like, we have to do this. This is not an expense. This is an investment. And just like, what every business, I guess, everything that you have to do, you have to continue to grow, or you'll die on the vine. And so, I think this will leave a legacy going forward in the future. I hope that North Carolina, wherever, whenever, it will continue to have this mindset, because we have been led by some incredible volunteers who do they want to have good fiduciary responsibility, but they also see the value of an investment. So I'm very grateful to them, and a team of people here on staff who have really bought into this and have done a great job and very, very invested in what we're trying to do. So this is what our mission statement is to promote and develop tennis in North Carolina. Now, we hope a lot of people play the USTA version, because that's part of it too. But I just believe everybody should touch a tennis racket at least once and try it at some point in their life, because of the value of what you potentially could bring. And so we really try to emphasize for kids to try it in schools and PE classes, through after school programs. And because if you try something as a kid, you're very likely to, you might drop it for a lot of your life, but you will pick it back up. Just like you, Del, just like you getting back into it.
Yep. And Alan, I know we're running out of time, but I wanted to just give you an opportunity to talk about, along with Try Tennis at Omega Sports, people can demo a racket, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Try Tennis rackets are a little bit more beginner oriented. So we do have some pre-strung rackets here, but we don't carry anything that's not 100% graphite or like better, because not all rackets are 100% graphite, but have other materials in it.
So maybe continue tennis. If you want to try a different new racket, you can try one.
Yeah, we got like a step up without breaking the bank for sure, and a lot of from Head, Wilson, Babolat. So Try Tennis is a great way to get a racket in your hand, but it's also a great way to be like, I need something more.
Absolutely.
And there's some really great rackets, honestly, at kind of that $90, $100 range that you won't necessarily outgrow anytime soon. There's several options. And so Try Tennis is great at like people who want to take it a little bit more seriously. They don't have to be great players, but if you want to take it a little bit more seriously, it's a great way to funnel them into our shop to get something something that they won't outgrow, give them a little bit more performance, get a little more edge on the competition, even if it's 2-5, 3-0,
Yeah. Well, as we head towards the close of the show, one of the things that I wanted to say is like, what's coming up? I know I have a $250 gift card ready to give out soon. So Kelly, Omega Sports, I know obviously you have lots of tournaments that are still in play and still happening. But we hopefully will have you and your wonderful team. And I know Alan name dropped some folks. I'm going to name drop some of your fantastic team members. Candace, Danny, Nick. Tell Nick I said his name live on Facebook. They were great, and they were great partners to work with in Asheville. Hopefully we'll see them again in Wilmington, because Omega Sports will be there for the combo tournament, correct?
That's right. First 2 weekends in November. And combo is just a different type of league. We mentioned mix, which is men and women on the same side of the net together. Combo is 2 different levels together. So it's just a little different play, but same gender teams. But we'll be down there the first 2 weekends in November. And we will be, we usually have great weather, hopefully have great weather. And we'll, let out, a word out to all of our players is come ready to buy Christmas presents for all your friends, because you're going to be set up. You're going to be ready to go with a little bit more of a pop-up store, right?
Yes, I will tell you this. If you are ready to get your shopping going, make sure you stop by. You have lots of choices. We'll be set up over at MP Park, but you are right around the corner. We have our full store at Mega Sports. Right in. I know Alan was going to jump in there. And here's the thing. You said something really important. If you want to get good gifts for the holidays, you're going to need to get them pretty early.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a Mega Sports thing. That's a
nationwide. That's an international
thing. So, we're coming where you are. So definitely make sure that you stop by, and we're going to make it even sweeter with some great incentives. Like this time around, we're going to be in Wilmington at the Combo with a $250 a Mega Sports gift card that will be handed out, and some other giveaways as well, because we want to see you. We want to meet you. We want to thank you for being a USTA member.
Great. I guess I'm not eligible to win, huh?
That's not coming from my store, is it?
That's your budget, right?
That's my budget.
Yeah,
we got this. Well, so I'm going to give you guys the last word. Kelly, let's start with Alan, and then Kelly, I'll give you the actual final word. So Alan, let's just, tell everyone out there why you are appreciative of the tennis community that you get to play in and serve in Wilmington, and then we'll toss it over to Kelly.
Yeah, well, I think a big part of it is Wilmington's is a tennis community, and it has been for decades. The Althea Tennis Complex, which is the tennis part of MP Park, has a lot of history here in Wilmington. It is a public court. It's 24 public courts. I think that it's
a beautiful court too.
Unusual for to have that many. I think there might be a couple places in North Carolina that almost rival that. I don't think 24 in one location. I don't know. I could be wrong with Cary, maybe.
Cary gets a little bit few more, but yeah, gotcha. 24 of one surface is pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then of course, you can just hop on those courts, even though you can reserve those courts as well. But the Althea Gibson Tennis Complex is truly a special place in Wilmington. Wilmington's grown a lot. Pandemic is a part of that. People moving from other areas, and I think they should definitely come check out, what their city tax dollars gives them, because it's awesome. Honestly, just awesome. And then of course, like having the USTA kind of deal with Omega is, I think, special in the sense of, again, it's a commitment for Omega Sports to really focus on tennis, and it's also clearly USTA, wanting to find a place to send their new players. Don't send them somewhere in a wrong direction that possibly could kill their enthusiasm, ruin their experience. And again, I hope Omega in all locations takes that to heart.
I love what you just said there. That's amazing. Kelly, what else do you want to say to your members out there, and or just folks maybe watching or listening at a rebroadcast of this or reading some of the notes from it, if they're interested in tennis?
Sure. I think we would love to, we love to hit 10,000 new players in 1 year, not over the course of 4, but we would just really, just a personal invitation to come try our sport if you haven't, or if you're thinking about it, or if you have put that racket away in the closet and you want to pull it out, and Alan can restring it for you with his fancy new string, and you're ready to go. But if you really want to experience, fun and fitness and friends and a really, really good quality of life, we would invite you to our sport. And to those of our members that are there, this is a great opportunity to help just have a good place to go, to get what you need, to continue to your journey on the court, and good advice, good expert advice for everything. So we really, and also help to give back some to your community. So Del, we're thrilled. Alan, it is a great honor. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. But Del, thank you for everything that you do. Absolutely.
I want to mention what one person brought in for me to restring. Doesn't have to be fancy at all.
There you go. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's also fun to play with. If y'all haven't found yourself a wood racket that's straight,
Mine's right back behind me. You're right there.
Yeah.
Will it still fit in a stringer? You can get the string small enough?
That's actually a good question. Not the one right here beside me. I don't know if you can see this at all. Not that one.
Yeah.
But I do have another machine that it will fit in.
Yeah. All right. Well, to both of you, I want to thank you for all that you're doing for our tennis community. Thank you for all you're doing in your local communities and statewide, Kelly. I appreciate you taking time today to be on our show. We will obviously see more of this action live in person at the tournaments. And of course, we'll continue to keep talking about all things USTA North Carolina.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you both.
Absolutely. All right. You guys have a great day. Alan, I know you're busy. Go ahead and get back to it.
Yeah. Adios.
All right. All right, guys. Well, I want to just throw up a quick Instagram handle. Make sure you follow USTA North Carolina. If you are interested in any of the programs that they have, or you just are looking for, your friends are playing and you heard they were at a tournament, great place to just check out some fun photos. You'll probably see some Omega stuff up there as well. So definitely make sure you're following their Instagram. That's at USTA North Carolina. You guys have a great day. We have the weekend right around the corner, and there are some great deals in your emails. Make sure you check it out.